All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Michael Jernigan, and this is the Main Event Wrestling Podcast, co-hosted, joined by my tag team partner. I don't care what you people say about him. My tag team partner, Mr. Jan Patterson. What's happening?
Probably the greatest of all time right here, ladies
Who?
and gentlemen. Me.
We ain't talking about Ric Flair yet.
Oh, we are. We're close enough.
Did you see that WWE Network has a new documentary on Flair?
Oh, do they really?
It come out last night. I hadn't watched it because I got home late last night. I was watching TakeOver late last night, so I haven't watched it. But yes,
Well, see, I've been in a battle. I got rid of my WWE Network.
You're missing it.
And so I've been debating on whether to get it back or not because, like we have stated over the previous weeks, wrestling is pretty sad right now.
Wrestling is different, but the big shows, like the pay-per-views, have been fine. The pay-per-views have been good. The TakeOver last night was great. Just the weekly shows have been weird.
Yeah. I was talking to a guy today, and he said, in which I can't remember this far back. You know, age gets me, right? I'm the older one of the group here.
By far.
He said wrestling now reminds him of back in 93 and 94 when WWE was just at a disarray and had no purpose behind anything, no planning, and it was a little rough. And I thought, man, for this dude to go back to 93 and 94, that's throwing it way back there.
I remember 93 and 94. That was before, to me, 92 was the last year of like the golden age.
Okay.
Right. The Hulk Hogan years.
Right.
Macho Man years.
Yeah.
It's talking WWF. 92 was like the cutoff. You had Ric Flair won the Royal Rumble in 92. You had WrestleMania 8. You had Flair and Savage. We watched that match here on the show a couple months ago. You had Sid Justice and Hogan in the main event.
Stop right there. First off, that name alone is stupid. Sid Justice. Keep it at Sid Vicious.
I agree. And Psycho Sid later on was fine.
Yeah.
I didn't mind Psycho Sid.
Well, he was psycho.
He was crazy. I think he still is. Sid, if you hear this, don't come kill me. I love you. I appreciate your work. And then you had SummerSlam 92 in England, and that was the first pay-per-view. I want to say that was the first pay-per-view without Hulk Hogan a part of it for WWE.
Right.
Now,
was that when, was it Bret Hart versus Davey Boy Smith?
Yeah, that was the main event for the Intercontinental Championship. So to me, that whole 92 time, and then Hogan popped back up at WrestleMania 9 in 93. Of course, won the championship at the end of the show, then lost it to Yokozuna in King of the Ring 93, that whole deal.
Yokozuna, a very underrated villain.
Oh, Yokozuna was good.
Yeah,
I remember,
great bad guy.
Yeah, he was great. So I think that 92, 93 time is kind of the end of like the golden age. You see Flair, he left, went back to WCW, did some stuff. Then Hogan left, he went to WCW in 94. Macho Man came in late 94, early 95. So that was kind of the end. So WWE in 94, 95 was odd because you had the steroid scandal going on behind the scenes. And then there was really 94 especially because they had Lex Luger in there. So when they shifted Lex Luger from the bad guy to being the new Hulk Hogan, didn't work. You did
Lex Express, baby.
Yes, sir. You did have Bret Hart versus Owen Hart in 94, which was good. And then in 95, it was like the Diesel year. The whole year he was the champion, and I didn't care much for. And then 96, you kind of had the Shawn Michaels year.
Yeah.
Then 97, you had the Shawn and Bret feud, and you had Steve Austin coming. And then 98, Stone Cold kind of took over.
Right.
So that 94, 95 time, I agree. And WCW was a little higher because you had Hulk Hogan coming in 94. But if you remember when he come in, you remember who he feuded against?
When he came into WCW?
Yes.
I know
Go ahead.
I know Flair was instrumental in bringing him in.
Yeah, his first match was with Flair at Bash of the Beach 94. But then after they got done with that, they did some stuff with Arn Anderson, Flair, that kind of deal.
Yeah.
But then that's when they kicked in the whole Dungeon of Doom. When they had Kevin Sullivan,
the Giant.
They had the Shark, also known as Earthquake.
Right.
They went through that whole stuff, and then Brutus Beefcake turned on Hogan, and Brutus Beefcake, let me tell you something.
Tell me something.
Before we get to
I like
NXT.
it. I like it. My man sat up.
You go back to the greatness that was the NWA and WCW.
Yeah.
The Starrcade event in 83, the Flair for the gold.
Right.
Starrcade in 84 and 85, you had Flair versus Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah.
It was just, you had the Four Horsemen, Arn and Tully with the Road Warriors. You had the Midnight Express versus the Rock and Roll Express. That was, for us, where we live here in North Carolina, that was our WrestleMania, right? That was the stuff that we watched on Saturday mornings. That was our stuff. Starrcade is like WCW's WrestleMania.
Right.
You go all the way back to 83. That was their big show. Starrcade 94, you had, by God, Brutus Beefcake in the main event of the same event that Ric Flair headlined for years.
Yeah.
Embarrassing.
Explain that.
Embarrassing.
I mean,
embarrassing.
Beefcake, I mean, he had one highlight his whole career. And it really wasn't his highlight.
I'm trying to think what that would be.
The barbershop, when what happened?
When Shawn Michaels kicked Marty Jannetty.
The only highlight of Brutus Beefcake's career. And it wasn't even his highlight.
Did you see the one where Sid Justice was on there before the Hulk Hogan match?
I did not.
He took a chair, and Brutus had, in the set, the barbershop set, he had a like a shaving cream machine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where they shave the back of your neck.
Right.
He hit that thing with a chair. I don't know if he knew it had shaving cream in it or not. Sid Vicious hit it. It exploded. Shaving cream went all over Sid Justice.
Love it.
I'm talking on his face, on his body, on his head.
Love it.
There was shaving cream everywhere. I remember that one as well.
Now, we need to do an episode one day of the greatest things that's happened, like in Piper's Pit, Brother Love's show, the barbershop, even go to a Flair for the Gold when he had that show in WCW, which was a travesty.
Yes, that's the one where the Shockmaster fell through the wall.
Yeah, but he had a few more before that. That's when he had Fifi the Maid.
Yep, I do recall.
And so
that was when Flair first come back to WCW, and he couldn't wrestle a match because he left Vince in WWE.
Yeah.
And come back to WCW, so they put him on TV without having him wrestle a match.
I like it.
Which that led to, my gosh, that Starrcade 93 event. Well, the year before Brutus Beefcake was in the main event, the year before in 93, you had the career versus championship with Flair and Vader in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Great match.
And I'm still kind of upset with my dad for not taking me to that match.
So James wouldn't take you.
30 years later, almost 30 years later, I'm still a little upset, Pop, that you wouldn't take me to Charlotte that night.
Man, you better not say that too loud. Your dad's packing.
I know. He's got a gun and a knife. He's not scared to use either one. So, which comes in handy these days.
And didn't even take you to Sizzler that night.
Comes in handy these days.
I hear you.
All right, so let's get to last night on the WWE Network. We had the NXT TakeOver in Your House events. This was the 25th anniversary of the very first In Your House event, which, by the way, happened in 1995. That we just talked about that year in WWE in 95. It was the very first one. I actually watched it the other night. I don't know why. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, I thought, I'm going to watch the very first one. So I went back and watched it. It wasn't a great show. It was a good show. You had Bret Hart wrestle Hakushi, which those are two really good workers. That was a good match. That was the best match on the show by far. Bret Hart come out later, wrestled Jerry the King Lawler. You had Psycho Sid and Diesel for the championship.
Yeah.
That kind of went how you expect a two big man match would go. You had Razor Ramon was on there. Savio Vega made his debut that night. It was an okay show. It wasn't great. It wasn't as good as this one last night, but it was okay. But I went back and watched that one the other night. So this is the 25th anniversary of the very first In Your House pay-per-view. Last night with 30 fans, 30 wrestlers on the outside behind the plexiglass, banging on it like a hockey game.
Yeah, I don't understand. We talked about this before we come on the show. What is this plexiglass? I mean, what is the purpose?
Keeps germs out, baby.
What about the people on the other side, right?
WWE says that everybody that comes in the Performance Center has been tested.
Then why the glass?
I ain't disagreeing.
I'm just asking.
I want to know what the test is. Are they swabbing noses?
Man, have you seen that done?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
There's a young lady that we both know that we saw last night at our church.
You see her do it?
She showed me a video.
Yeah, I got that video on my phone.
A young lady that we both know recently come in contact with somebody who had the virus, so she had to get tested. I said, so you got swabbed all the way up there? She said, yes. I said, how far was it up there?
My God.
She said, I got a video. You want to see it? I said, yes. She pulled her phone out. I looked at it from 6 feet away, and so she was getting swabbed. I said, how long's that Q-tip?
You couldn't tell when it was going in.
Yeah, it's like they were swabbing when I first started watching.
Right.
And I said, how long's that Q-tip? She said, just hang on a second.
Yeah.
And then they started pulling that thing out. And they got a good 10 inches, 12
absolutely.
inches away from her face before you saw the swab at the end.
I mean, that thing hit the back of her head, dude.
I don't know how. Like, I couldn't do that without gagging. Because I've been swabbed for, like, the flu, like a flu test, and even my throat swab for strep throat.
Yeah.
And I gagged on both of them.
I couldn't do it, man. It was crazy.
I couldn't do it either.
So, I mean, so they're testing everybody. Then why the glass? Why the plexiglass? I don't get that.
My guess is, this is just a guess, WWE don't sue us. I don't know. I'm not saying this is what's happening. My guess is they're checking temperatures. If you don't have a temperature, you get in the door.
Okay, but still, my thing, you're going through all this precaution to get in the building, right?
Yeah.
Everything. Then put the glass away. Right? To
Germs,
me,
baby. That's all I can tell you. Germs. I don't know.
No, it's walking vaginas is what it is.
Easy. So the NXT TakeOver in your house event started with Todd Pettengill last night doing a little on-screen promo talking about the very first one 25 years ago. You remember Todd Pettengill from back in the day? So he was there. Gosh, he was there probably late 92, early 93. All the way to like 97.
Right.
So he had several years there. Still looks the same. He looks a little older, but still looks the same. I like Todd Pettengill. I liked him back in the day. I liked him here. So he came out, did a promo at the beginning of the show just to kind of set the stage, a little nostalgia factor on the show, which was very nicely done. The show opened with the 6-woman tag team match. You had Shotzi Blackheart. Before we go any further, did you watch NXT last Wednesday?
Yes.
So you saw Shotzi Blackheart and Tegan Knox in a tag team match against Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez.
Right.
Did you see Shotzi do that coffin drop deal that my man does in AEW?
Darby Allin.
Yes.
I did see it, and it made me mad.
She did it off like the second rope. He does it like off the top turnbuckle.
Anywhere.
The girls were on the floor. Gonzalez and what's her name?
Tegan?
Dakota Kai. Dakota Kai was on the floor. I think Candice LeRae was out there with them.
Woohoo.
I love Candice LeRae. So she jumped off the middle rope with her back, kind of sprung up, and then fell backwards. Now, the girls that were on the floor, to their credit, they caught her, but they caught her the bottom end of her body.
Ooh.
From like hips down.
Right.
So
whiplash.
Nothing was protecting her top end. And when they caught her, she fell straight backwards. Her head hit the bottom of that graded ramp that they have.
Ooh.
Oh my gosh. If you hadn't seen the video, look it up. I showed my wife last night, and she about threw up. She couldn't watch it. Her head, I don't know how she's still alive. I was happy to see her walking out to the ring and in this match last night.
You're not Darby Allin. Don't try it.
So you had Shotzi Blackheart, Mia Yim, and Tegan Knox taking on Raquel Gonzalez, Dakota Kai, and one of my favorites, Candice LeRae.
They lost.
I like Bad Girl Candice. I'm a big fan of Bad Girl Candice.
How would you grade that match?
We talking 1 to 10, or are we talking ABC?
A, B, C, or D?
It was probably, I'd give it a B.
Okay, that's what CBS Sports gave it. I was just curious if you ride along with them.
Yeah, I would say a B.
They gave it a B minus.
Yeah, I was going to say a B or B minus, one of those two. It was a good match. I'm not a big fan of 6-person matches just because there's too many moving parts. You know what's going to happen. They're all going to go to the outside. Somebody's going to dive on top of 3 of them. Then somebody else is going to dive on top of 4 of them.
Got to be a big
Somebody
spot.
else is going to dive on top of 5 of them. It's kind of the same thing. But it was a good match with the good guys, Shotzi and Mia Yim and Tegan Knox picking up the win. Candice LeRae and Mia Yim ended up fighting to the back. They ended up leaving the match, so it was just a regular tag team match. I think that's just going to further their storyline with Candice and Mia, Johnny Gargano, and Keith Lee coming up in the future. Next up, we had Finn Balor and Damian Priest. This was a match that I was looking forward to. Not the one I was looking forward to the most, but it was one that I had high hopes for. Question.
Let's go.
Damian Priest is the bad guy.
Right.
Because he hit Finn Balor with his nightstick a couple weeks ago, took him out. He's the bad guy. What happened to bad guy Finn?
I don't know.
He turned his back on Johnny.
Right.
And had a great match with Johnny a couple of months ago as the last TakeOver. And now, all of a sudden, I don't know if they dropped it or if this is supposed to be bad guy versus bad guy or what the deal was.
Well, when we get to another match, let's go back to that question right there.
Okay.
Because I read an interesting thing about Finn that I want to interject, but I want to wait till we get to another match. So bring me back to this question because I don't want to spoil the next match. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. So Finn Balor got the win. Really good match between those two. I think Damian Priest, he's got a good look to him.
Yeah.
He's a big guy, strong, got long hair. He's got a good look to him. I don't really know what his character is. He shoots arrows, flaming arrows or something. And his character, I don't know. He needs some character work, but I think he's got a future and can do some big stuff. Next up, we had the North American Championship match with the champion Keith Lee versus the aforementioned Johnny Gargano. They have been building this match up for the past couple of weeks with Candice LeRae and Mia Yim being Keith Lee's girlfriend. I like all the promos with Candice and Johnny Gargano in their house. I've loved it. The
more storytelling you can do for us, the better.
Which I would find it hard, I think, to dislike anything that Candice LeRae does. But that's just me.
I love it.
These jokers, they had a good match. It was a long match. I thought it was maybe a few minutes too long, but Keith Lee got the win with that power slam finish over Gargano. Gargano started the match. They had a set, had like a door,
right?
Like the original In Your House thing. They didn't have it look like a full house, but it looked like a door and had some windows. Everybody else come out from a tunnel beside the door. Johnny Gargano started his entrance from inside the house, in air quotes, the house, and come through the door. Then when he come through the door, he locked it, put the key in his tights.
Hey.
20 minutes later, that key would come out and poke my man Keith Lee in the face with it.
I love
it. So he also had a picture of Michael P.S. Hayes as Doc Hendricks set up inside of his house before he come out to the match. Keith Lee got the win, retained the North American Championship match, the North American Championship title. I thought Johnny Gargano was going to win. I thought they were going to flip it. I thought he was going to be the champion, and Keith Lee would get called up to Monday Night or Friday Night SmackDown.
Right.
But that didn't happen. Next up, we had what we have called here a movie match for the NXT Championship. It was the first ever backlot brawl on NXT, but it was not the first ever backlot brawl in WWE history. Do you know, Mr. Patterson?
Backlot brawl.
When was the first? I'll give you a hint. It was a Hollywood backlot brawl.
Oh, I do not.
In WWE. I'll give you some more hints. It was 1996 at WrestleMania 12.
Nope.
You ain't got nothing?
No. Because see, when I heard, because I read, like I said, I read about this, and the first thing that come to my mind was the terrible, and I mean terrible, WCW.
Oh, gosh.
The monster trucks.
Oh, from Halloween Havoc 95. Yes.
That's the first thing that come to my mind. I thought, please, Lord God, don't do this.
At WrestleMania 12, there was a scheduled match between Goldust and Razor Ramon. Razor ended up getting hurt. And, of course, he left the company months later and went to WCW as an outsider. So Razor did not make it for that match. So they inserted the legend himself, Roddy Piper. So you had Roddy Piper and Goldust in the first ever Hollywood backlot brawl at 96 at WrestleMania 12, which Roddy Piper about took off. He legit ran over poor old Dustin Rhodes as Goldust that night. I don't know how he survived. So this match was pre-taped a couple of weeks ago. It was given the full movie the movie set.
Yeah.
They were in a parking lot. They had cars pulled up with their headlights on. Back in the day, we used to play ball just like this.
Right.
We'd have headlights on to give us light to play basketball. It was a good match. I thought, too, they were going to flip this championship as well.
I'm going to tell you now when they're going to flip this championship.
Hang on a second. Let's talk about this match first, because I got some more stuff about Adam Cole. So Adam Cole retains the championship.
Yep.
I thought he was going to lose. To me, the Velveteen Dream has never been more over than he was a couple of months ago. I think he almost cooled down a little bit, and like this was the time. If he was going to win the championship, it was going to be right here.
To do it.
Adam Cole has had the championship for over a year. He has had. He's been the champion for the longest NXT champion in the history of NXT, and I thought this was the time for them to flip this championship. When, my man Patterson, are they going to flip this championship and make Adam Cole a former NXT champion?
Here's what's going to happen. As we got a phone call coming through. That may be Finn Balor now telling me not to tell what's going to happen. But Finn, guess what? I'm still telling it. You can call in and try to stop this all you want.
I had a phone call, y'all. Sorry.
Finn Balor versus Adam Cole
for
the NXT championship.
Uh-huh.
And the Undisputed Era are going to turn
on
Adam Cole.
Stop it.
And Finn Balor is going to take over the lead role, win the title.
Stop it.
And then Adam Cole will go to either Raw or SmackDown until he signs with AEW with his girl.
Okay. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response.
That's what's going to happen.
But speaking of Adam Cole going to the main roster, Road Dogg was on the WWE podcast with Corey Graves last week or week before.
Yeah.
He was talking about Adam Cole. He said on that podcast, he said that Adam Cole is his favorite wrestler in the world right now.
Right.
He said he's professional behind the scenes. He'll do whatever you need him to do. He is great on screen.
Yes.
He's a great talker. He's a great worker. You don't have to write out a promo for him. You just tell him what you want to communicate. He'll get it done. And then he said these words. He said, if Adam Cole had his ability with Karrion Kross's size,
yes,
he would already have been Universal Champion.
I agree.
Now, here's the deal. I cannot believe they talked like he admitted that publicly. We've heard for years that Vince likes big guys.
Right.
We've heard that for years. We knew it. You can look at the TV show and tell.
Yeah.
There's a reason that Braun Strowman's a champion, and not because he's a good wrestler, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's because he's a big joker. The fact that he admitted that publicly, to me, if I was Adam Cole,
I'm done.
that's a red flag.
I'm done.
That's a red flag. Because Adam Cole's got a ceiling on him because he's 5'10" or whatever he is. He's got a ceiling that he'll never get past a certain level, be it an Intercontinental Championship level, U.S. Championship level, whatever. No matter what he does, no matter how good he is, if he knows that his size is always going to have him a step below the Brocks,
right,
John Cena's,
yes,
the Seth Rollins, the Brawns, the Fiends, if he's always going to be a step below those guys, send me to Jacksonville.
Perfect example is Finn Balor, right? First Universal Champion.
Yep.
Got hurt in a match with Seth Rollins.
Yep.
And never got back to, I mean, they were riding him high. Like he came in, the Demon, and all that. They rode it high. And then all of a sudden, he wasn't a big man anymore.
Yep.
And so he never got that second push after that injury. Another great is our boy, and they've said they didn't like that his rise to popularity was Daniel Bryan.
Yeah.
So there's another example how if you're not at least 6'5", 6'6", you're not gonna. Now you may make a main event, but you're not gonna be the one that Vince puts all his trust in.
The only way I see Adam Cole being the man on Friday nights or Monday nights is if it's a Daniel Bryan situation where the fans
just have to get behind.
Fans get back in the building, because until fans get back in the building, they kind of do what they want to. They can set it up and spin it however they want to. They're going to have to force it to happen, like Daniel Bryan,
right?
In 2014 2014 at WrestleMania 30. But to me, if I'm Adam Cole, man, I hear that coming from Road Dogg. who is a higher up in the company,
Yeah.
who used to be the head writer of SmackDown, who's now working with NXT. To me, as soon as
I'm
that
done.
contract's up, I'm heading to Jacksonville.
And I mean, the only way I stay, if I'm Adam Cole, is if you give me Raw or SmackDown money to stay the NXT champion.
He may already have money.
And he may.
It may not be a big deal.
And so,
I don't know.
But, like you said, that's a huge flag that you're not going to be, like you said, the Roman Reigns, the Braun Strowman, or somebody like that, because they just look at your size.
It just ain't big enough, yeah.
Because you tell me, let's go this right here.
Okay,
right,
let's go.
Finn Balor, Adam Cole, main event. Are you interested?
Yeah.
Adam Cole, Shinsuke Nakamura, main event.
They got some work to do for sure. I'm interested just because I'm a fan of Shinsuke.
Right, but not what they.
Yeah.
Let's think New Japan Shinsuke.
Yeah, listen, if this was 2016 Shinsuke, 2017 that we saw live at an event, give it to me.
Yeah, I mean,
I would pay to go to that show.
That would be an incredible show.
I don't care if they're keeping out the germs with plexiglass or not. I would be there.
Yeah, I mean, that would be a highlight show. I mean, you even throw, and he's not main event no more, but Adam Cole and The Miz against each other. Mike and Mike.
Stop it.
Yeah, I'm serious. You put both of them on the mic, you got two good mic people.
Stop
You put them in the ring. Miz is great. Miz is what's keeping SmackDown alive right now.
Stop it.
You know it's true.
SmackDown is not alive, first of all. Second of all, what they're doing with The Miz and John Morrison and Braun Strowman is dumb as everything.
They got to do something. They ain't got no fans.
They need to figure out something else to do. Watch AEW. They'll show you what to do.
Well, they try.
Anyway, so you had Adam Cole retaining the championship. You had Dexter Lumis make a cameo, come out from underneath the ring, and drive off with the Undisputed Era Boys to keep them out of the match. And Adam Cole retains to continue his reign as the longest ever NXT, well-deserved, too, NXT heavyweight champion.
Is he the best NXT champion in your mind? Because there have been some good ones.
Oh, there's been some real good ones.
Yeah.
I mean, you go back, Seth Rollins was the first. Bo Dallas was one.
Yeah.
You go all the way back. Neville was one. If you take Neville now, if you take Pac and put him in there, oh, my gosh. Pac was good. Sami Zayn was next. Kevin Owens has got to be up there.
Yeah.
Finn beat Kevin Owens. Samoa Joe beat Finn.
I mean, even Bobby Roode was good.
Shinsuke beat Samoa Joe. Bobby Roode beat Shinsuke. Drew McIntyre was a good one.
Yeah.
Andrade was a good one when he was the champion.
NXT champions look better than Raw champions right now.
Oh, no question. No question. Tommaso Ciampa was a good one.
Yeah.
Great one. Johnny Gargano, he was a good one. He didn't have the belt long, but he was a good one when he finally won it. That was a good story to tell. And then you get to Adam Cole now. Out of all those, man, Finn was good.
That's a good list,
Adam
man.
Cole's good. And I find it, I don't know if it's good or embarrassing that I can remember the line of champions. It's unbelievable.
That's all right.
It's unbelievable.
Shows your high IQ, baby.
Thank you. Speaking of, we need to get some trivia on this show. My gosh, I can win something, I think. Next up, we had Tommaso Ciampa versus Karrion Kross. And the lovely, the amazing, the stunning, the smoking hot smoke show herself, Scarlett, formerly Scarlett Bordeaux. This was a good match, and I'm good with Kross winning. I thought Kross should have won. I am surprised by the way he won. Like, he dominated Ciampa.
Yeah.
Tommaso got like 2 minutes worth of offense in, and then that was it. Like, Karrion Kross just dominated that Joker, which is good because I think they'll probably have another match, and I think he needs to win the next one too.
Yeah.
And then you got to get the belt off of Adam Cole, get it onto a good guy so that Karrion Kross can be the bad guy chasing the championship belt. Because the more that he and Scarlett is on my TV,
the better.
And Candice LeRae, the better it is. And then in the main event of the NXT TakeOver In Your House event was the women's triple threat for the NXT Women's Championship. You had Rhea Ripley, the champion, Charlotte Flair, and Io Shirai. And these girls absolutely, I believe, had the best match of the night. and also beat the devil out of each other. These girls laid a beating on each other. There were knees flying. There was elbows flying. At one point in time, there was a potted plant outside the set of the house. Rhea Ripley picked it up, threw it at Charlotte, hit her with the plant and the pot that the plant was in.
I love it.
Hit Charlotte with it. Charlotte and Rhea, they had a match back at WrestleMania.
Yep.
And something about them two working together. I don't think they work together well. They just seem a little off in their matches. They're both trying to do, I don't know if they're trying to do the same thing or they're just not giving themselves to the other person enough or whatever. Something seems off. But they were outside in front of the set. Charlotte had thrown Rhea into the windows of the set.
Right.
Then she threw Io into the windows. Then Rhea picked up the potted plant, threw it at Charlotte. They wrestled off to the side, to the right of the stage, and Io was back there somewhere.
Yeah.
Then the camera zoomed back, and I said, "Oh gosh." Io had climbed up to the top of the house, she was standing on the roof of this set house that they had. Then Charlotte and Rhea worked their way back in front of, you knew exactly what was happening.
Right, yeah.
They worked their way back in front of the house, and then you hear this war cry from Io, and old girl jumped probably 15, 20 feet high up in the air and did a crossbody onto Charlotte and Rhea onto the ground. And how she's still alive. She's a tough girl like Chauncey Blackheart. Amazing spot in the match. I'm glad they left that spot and they didn't do that with like Johnny Gargano jumping off there and Keith Lee catching him.
Yeah.
I'm glad they left that for Io. She jumped off the top of the house. They got back in the ring. The match ended with Charlotte having Rhea in the figure 8, and then Io doing her moonsault finish off the top rope onto Rhea. And I thought, if Rhea Ripley does not have a concussion today, it's by the grace of God that she does not have a concussion.
She caught one,
today.
did she?
She caught a knee, a leg, a foot, a shin to the face. And then Io Shirai gets the pin and becomes the new NXT Women's Champion.
You know what I thought was going to happen?
What?
And this is crazy. You know, now you got Bayley 2 belts.
Yep.
You had Becky 2 belts.
Yep.
I really thought, because of, you know, with Becky going out and, you know, something, I really thought they were going to put all 3 belts on Charlotte.
What do you mean all 3? Like
the NXT Championship, the Raw Championship, and because she's been on every show.
Let me tell you something.
That would have been the highlight of my career.
If that were to happen, if they did that, I'd be fine with it.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm cool. The wrestling community on Twitter
would blow up.
Would die. They would die. Charlotte's already getting so much hate for being on every show. And I would agree. She's overexposed. Like, she's been on SmackDown. They've already announced for tonight's Monday Night Raw, she's got a championship match with Asuka tonight. And people was like, why in the world is she just lost the belt. Why is she getting another match? Yeah. She was in the number 1 contenders triple threat on Raw a couple weeks ago. And it's just unbelievable. If that would have happened, I'd be okay with it. I would like it. But people would be pissed.
I mean, you know, it's the same thing with like Roman Reigns back then. You know, so much of a push.
Yeah.
But Vince is going to push his money makers.
Yeah.
I mean.
Why do you think John Cena is a 16-time champion?
Yeah.
Because he made money.
He pushed the money.
He made money. Coming out of this event, I have noticed last night and this morning, there's a lot of talk of the possibility of Charlotte wrestling for a men's championship belt.
I did see that.
What do you think?
I wasn't a fan when Tessa Blanchard done it. I will, as much as I love Charlotte Flair, I won't be a fan. The only way I would be a fan, right, of this situation would be if she won Money in the Bank. And
like the women's Money in the Bank.
The women's Money in the Bank. Yep. And she decided, man, Seth Rollins or Braun Strowman is beat to death and is just laying there in the ring and cashing it in.
I got you.
For a quick win. A quick win.
I got you.
And say, I've held this belt too.
Yeah.
Because, man, right now you got Strowman and you got
Drew McIntyre.
She's not beating either one.
No.
Right?
No, I don't think so.
No. I mean, I think her and McIntyre may put on a good match. Her and Strowman will not.
Now, if she were to go to 205 Live, which I don't watch regularly, she would kill them cruiserweights on there.
Yeah, not something like that. But we're talking about a major title,
I agree.
right?
I agree.
So, I mean,
what if they set up a match between her and Andrade for the U.S. Championship? Get the U.S. belt back on Andrade, and then have her and then her and her boyfriend.
Somewhere Andrade has fallen out of grace.
I like Andrade.
I do too,
good.
but I'm
I think
saying
he's good. Yeah,
he's fallen out of grace somewhere.
I think they're as far as that. I think they're setting up because he was suspended for 30 days a couple months ago.
Yeah,
he come back. Selena Vega had jumped in with Angel Garza, and I think they're setting up a kind of a jealousy angle with Garza and Andrade, where Andrade will eventually leave Zelina Vega because she's spending too much time showing too much attention to Garza, and they're setting up a match there. Because everybody knows anytime you have a tag team partner, sooner or later you're going to wrestle each other.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I think they're setting up something eventually.
Yeah, something's going to go down.
So the show ended with the full Japanese treatment of streamers and confetti for Io Shirai. It looked like a by God Christmas parade.
Yes, it did.
In the middle of the ring to end the NXT TakeOver in Your House event. All in all, this was the first TakeOver with no fans, and I think the fans play a big role for these TakeOver events. I have gone back the past couple of weeks, and I have been watching all the TakeOvers, like just the big shows. I went back to 2014 from the very first one and just been watching the big shows. I'm up to like 2016 now, I think. I've watched several over the past several weeks. Because weekly TV wrestling, like it's good, but we've talked about before, it's just a little off. So I've been going back watching these good NXT shows.
Nothing wrong with that.
I just watched the Dallas one in 2016, I believe, when Shinsuke made his debut against Sami Zayn. And you had Finn Balor and Samoa Joe wrestling in the main event for the championship. So I've gone back to watch all those. So this is the first one without fans. I don't think it was as good as like that Dallas show, or it's not as good as some of the other ones I saw, but it certainly was not a bad show.
Right.
I will take this kind of show every day, all day.
Well, let me ask you this before we go.
Let me hear it.
NXT in Your House we just got done with.
Yep.
Are you interested at all in Slammiversary Impact? Have you seen anything about it?
I saw an advertisement where they showed all the people that were let go from WWE.
Yeah.
I did read a report where the people that were let go, they have a 30, 60, 90, whatever it is, no compete clause. And this show falls like a week before that clause is up. So they did say like one or two people are supposed to be there.
Yeah.
So I don't know. No, I don't have no interest.
Okay. I didn't know if that was,
No, I don't have no interest.
I didn't know if that peaked it or not.
Listen, I would watch it if somebody was watching it and they said, "Hey, you want to come over and pay $10 and watch?" I would do it, but I wouldn't know what's happening.
Because see, I look at that and I look at this, and I'll let us go. Cody Rhodes on AEW.
Yep.
Has the TNA title, whatever that thing's called. TNT title, and he's made an open challenge.
Yep.
And he even used the phrase to anyone inside or outside of AEW can come challenge for that belt. So I see after this 90-day, you could see some guys maybe start filtering in.
I hope to see Rusev in.
Yeah.
I hope to see EC3 in. And that's about it.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of anybody. Rusev, EC3. That may be about it, like you said.
Yeah, like Drake Maverick, he got a job. He got his job back at WWE.
At a cheaper rate.
Well, my man signed the contract Wednesday night without even reading it. So I don't think he knows what rate he was getting. He just signed because he was out there after his match. He was crying. Triple H walked out with the contract. He handed it to him. Drake signed it.
You know he signed it before that match happened.
No, that was real, baby.
Stop.
That was a shooting. That was a shoot.
Shoot.
That was a shooting.
We've seen a lot of shootings this week.
There's been some shooting going on. All right, everybody. This is the Main Event Wrestling Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at the Main Event Pod. You can look us up on PressPlayPodcast.com and enjoy all the family of shows that we have available on PressPlayPodcast.com. I hope you guys enjoyed NXT TakeOver in Your House. We did, and we will be back next week to talk a little more wrestling. We got Backlash coming up. You excited?
No.
Okay. We got
right now. WWE's got to do a lot to impress me.
NXT's that's what impresses you. It's not Monday nights or Friday nights.
You're right.
It's Wednesday night, baby. Best night of the week. All right, I'm Michael Jernigan. That's Jam Patterson. This is the Main Event Wrestling Podcast.
Peace.